In turn. I think I will declare war on Iga and try to take them out really quick too, so they aren't bothersome. I guess I was wrong about the other one being their last scene. They've got another one here. Tokugawa does. Yeah, I'll try and take Tokugawa out. I like them. I like fighting them. They're cool. They're a lot of fun to fight because their last castle is hard. See, I have mixed feelings about the castles in this game, the castle fights, because some of them are insanely hard if you don't have the right makeup, and you just go there and you die and reload and die and reload. Or at least I did. That's how I did things. And Tokugawa, their castle was one of those that I went to and died at. Well, I mean, Rance didn't die, but I lost continuously at that castle until I figured out how to handle it. And it was pretty frustrating. I mean, it kills the mood a lot of this game when you go to a place like that and just lose over and over and over. Otherwise, though, if you have the right makeup, they're genuinely challenging and they're fun. Well, challenging, I don't know if that's appropriate. This game's not really hard. You can follow a guide and complete the entire game. So that is usually an indicator that the game takes no skill or effort. But the castles are fun. There's always all the important units in the game. Like when you fight Kenshin right there in combat, you know that she's strong and she's scary and it's awesome and you like it. I do. Love doing that stuff. Asaya Sakura has none of that. He's not intimidating, he's not scary, he's not important. He's an old guy. An old guy who's not good at anything. A talented Terasaki is born. You know, I can fast forward through those scenes. I may do that. There's no reason to sit through them at all. And oh, you start getting more money based on the territories that you have, I think. I haven't actually paid attention to that. I rarely pay attention to income. It's not as important as it seems, really. Your troops, if you use them, they will just grow on their own over time. You don't really have to buy new troops for anybody. Here Nobunaga's like not really there. He's kind of himself, like he realizes that he's alive and thinking, I guess. He's a consciousness inside of his own body, which is currently under control of another being. Let's put it that way. And that, the large man, is Rengoku, and he is a demon. He is an apostle of the primary demon. Xavier, that's the demon that is possessing Nobunaga. There are 4 apostles. This is one of them. And I think he's my most hated because you fight him in a commander battle at one point, and it's a guarantee, if this is your first time playing the game, you will be underprepared and you will lose to him. And you feel like the game just shit on you because you don't know what you were supposed to do. They don't really warn you about it. And it's lame, but because it's your first time around, they give you ways to work around it. Here, I'll declare war on Iga. Yeah, see that warrior guy, I'm not going to be using him a lot. He's not very good, except for commander battles. And the other 2 of the Mino 3 that I need to recruit, one is a diviner, one is a tactician. I'll use the tactician. If I conquer Takeda and Uesugi, I'll use their tacticians, and I probably won't use the one I get from the Mino 3. The diviner I'll use casually here and there because diviners, on top of their really high damage area of effect, I guess you'd call it, because it hits all of the enemy units, they can put up guard shikigami, which completely block all damage directed at one of your units. And that's kind of a cheap ability in this game. It really does block everything that does damage, and kind of a big deal, actually. I'll do this, see how this goes. Oh great, the Uesugi army has appeared, which means that I'll be fighting Kenshin, and I went in there kind of weak because I'm fighting Iga and they're not good. But now that Kenshin's here and I don't have a guard unit in the front, if they There's a chance they'll deploy Kenshin in the back row, and if they do that, fantastic. She's meaningless, she won't do anything. Probably an oversight on the developer's part to allow that to even happen. But if she's in the front row, Renmaru's gonna get tore up and killed, and then I'll probably lose. Oh god. None of that sounds good. So, let's hope she's in the back row. I think they go through this dialogue every time as well. I'll skip it in the future. I'll let it go this first time. It's a much smaller dialogue if she's aiding you than it is if you're fighting against her in one of these situations. But they keep Kenshin like this, so she's on your mind, you know? I don't know why else they would do it. It's a cool little mechanic to have in the early game. It reminds you that you're not the strongest army on the map, for example. That's nice. But you know that there are other things you can achieve instead of being the best and being able to take everything easily. It's the CG again. This shows every time, and I still like it. I don't know. Their troops are all in purple armor, and it stays that way when you're in your army. All the troops are still their original colors. I guess that would make sense. I wouldn't force my troops to replace their armor, especially back then, you know? All of it was handcrafted. Oh god, it's a lot of work. And those look like spears to me that they're carrying. I don't know. That's not even important. What am I talking about? Yeah, she's just trying to stop people from getting more territory for one reason or another. Then you get to fight, and she is in the back row, thank God. And this is the first situation where you have the ability to wipe out the whole front row, and then the back row moves up and takes their place. So you would be fighting against Kenshin, and that is not good. You do not want to do that. No, you don't. And you can see all of my people are missing an action flag. That is because of Kenshin. That is her ability. And also Iga, they were all ninjas except Kenshin and the tactician called Commander. Just Commander. He doesn't, you know. You'll see a few units like that. They've got a name, it's just a name. There are medics, there are other various ones. You'll see them throughout the game. They're not capturable, I don't believe. And they're not important. Take these guys out. I guess she can heal herself, probably better. Mikos are expensive. They're expensive to recruit and they're expensive to replenish, so I don't really want her to have to, I don't want to have to pay for her. Ninjas are also expensive, actually. Archers are cheap, footmen are cheap. Warriors are a little costly as well. Finish this up. They're still winning up top, as you can see. But they won't for long, because they're out of moves and Kenshin can't move at all. So, you know, I'll fire at him. I don't know. I'm not gonna kill that guy in the front. I'm just gonna let him sit there. And you will see here that Kenshin can't do anything, so she'll just stand by for all of the turns. And until it's out. No captures, no kills. Renmaru they all gained an additional troop than they would have normally, because Fuka, her passive ability, is called Large Propaganda Effect, and that's what it is. It allows for the extra bonus of a troop from that. It's not really important, it's not an amazing ability, and you don't notice it until it's called out, like I just called it out. I mean, you wouldn't notice that unless you were reading very specific things. It's not important. Mikos have that. I think only Mikos have that. Mikos and Tacticians share the ability to debuff the enemy power-ups as well. I mean, I think the Large Propaganda Effect is Miko only. I don't know. And I was wrong about these people having their last scene. Oh well. She's out giving people rice. Good old Yuki with that kind heart. Kind soul, helping people in her state. I guess she's out there with her brothers too, look at them all. You fight all of her brothers in combat, and they're all warriors and they're all weak. Yuki is a unit herself, though she's never deployed by Asaya Sakura, and you cannot obtain her in your first playthrough as a unit. In secondary playthroughs, as with most things, you have the ability to get her as a unit. And she is a Miko, big surprise there. I don't remember whether she's good or not. Like I've said before, I don't use them. I know her overall level is like 11. She's a horrible commander for commander fights, but maybe she's okay for military battles. And you need to employ her in your army, obviously, to get her character clear. That's like that for all of them. Aki as well, and they can't just be in Rance's den, whatever you want to call it. And here we go. See, Uesugi would not come to my defense here because it's Iga still defending their own territory. If he were attacking Owari, if Iga were attacking Owari, Kenshin could come to my aid. Despite the fact I was just encroaching on Iga land, you know. She's more interested in preserving the borders than setting up an alliance or making sense. And this girl is here to assassinate Rance. Looks kind of like a boy. There's another girl that looks a lot like a little boy too, but they're girls. You know how it goes. And she's the same thing that Suzume is. Kunoichi, not Koinichi? Yeah, that's what I pronounced as Kunoichi. Oh well. I imagine her looking like Nagata Yuki. I mean, look at her. Look at her face. If you've seen The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, that's what she looks like. So then it says in the text box that she presses her breasts together, and I'm just thinking, that's gotta be boring. There's nothing there. What's going on? I'm trying to make it interesting for myself here. This dialogue I would skip, but I will include it all. Because it's unique. And of course Suzume recognizes her because they might have gone to the same school. They're from the same place. They had to have trained alongside each other at some point, or, you know. You know, you go to nursing school, you're gonna see what other doctors are like. You go to sex ninja school, you're gonna see what other sex ninjas are like. That's just how it goes. The facts of life. And they put poison all over themselves, trying to kill them, and they're tempting. Anyway, it's actually, Suzume's pretty brutal about it. She just slits the girl's throat and lets her bleed out. Ugh. Something about the neck or wrists or ankles. Ugh. Worst spots on your body to get hurt from. See, she looks like a boy. Look at that, without the glasses on, and now she has a brown kimono robe thing. She looks like a boy. That's what I thought for a while. I thought that picture was a boy. So you'd have a random officer, right? You can... Rance sleeps with everybody, so you have a random officer with a portrait like that, and Rance sleeps with them. Looks like a boy. I realized once Rance slept with them, it was a girl. There are a lot of funny things with those portraits. You'll see a lot of duplicates, and especially now that I mention it, you'll start to look at it. And I'll show you an example. A lot of the bald men, there are none here, unfortunately. Oh man, I wish there were. I'll show you later on. They're just like, they'll slap a wig on them and make it look like a different face, and sometimes it's really out of place. And I think it's funny. Kento comes with quite a few troops. Very fortunate, because she is weak. She's fast though, she went first, like I said she would. She's really quick. Okay, so he puts up that guard. Oh, what I was saying in the last part, when he enters the field, his guard is at 50%. That's how it is defaulted for all guard units. You can get them a secondary ability, like the Miko's large propaganda effect, except it's enhanced initial guard. And that gives him 120% at the start of battle. So if he doesn't go first, he will still be able to absorb an attack with guarantee. And that's why I want that. You need at least one guard unit who has that, or you're going to be losing a lot of front row units later in the game based on random numbers and bullshit.